Good evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, no cause for alarm on the president's health, says government spokesperson Lai Mohammed. He's in safe hands in London. House of Representatives enraged over kidnap of young students in Lagos schools, orders Inspector General of Police to find them. Calm returns to Calabar after the Navy and police clash, which led to the burning of a police station. And over 80 people killed in massive truck bomb blast in Kabul, the Afghan capital.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's equities end the month of May on a strong note, firming up 14.52% on a monthly basis.
And on sports news tonight, Victor Moses and other top stars dropped from Super Eagles lineup as coach Geronimo Toror calls up 23 players for next month's AFCON qualifiers against South Africa.
And from Abuja, UN Refugee Agency calls for enhanced security to allow refugees in Cameroon and Chad return to Nigeria.
Tonight, to begin with, yet another assurance from the government for Nigerians that there is no cause for alarm over the president's health. The briefing State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed explained that President Buhari is in very competent hands in the UK, where he is currently undergoing treatment.
Matters of immediate national concern, as usual, sprung up at the Federal Executive Council weekly meeting. Briefing State House correspondents, the Minister of Information and Culture responded to the question on the president's health. According to him, the president, who left the country on another round of medical consultations on May 7, 2017, is in good hands.
Having been a victim of misrepresentation here in the last 3-4 weeks, I think I want to make myself very, very clear. On the issue of Mr. President's health, Mr. President is in very, very competent hands, and there's no cause for alarm. On the issue of budget, the
Minister of Health equally announced that the Council approved a plan to set up a joint venture with a pharmaceutical firm to produce vaccines in the country from 2017 to 2021 with an initial capital of 100 million naira.
What Council did today was to put life into this joint venture agreement that proposes to establish a company called BioVaccines Limited, which will be jointly owned by Federal Government of Nigeria and Miambika PLC. The board of the company will comprise 7 people, 4 from Miambika, 3 from Federal Government. The equity participation will be 51% Miambika, 49% Federal Government of Nigeria. The vaccine the company between 2017 and 2021 will produce many of the basic vaccines that we need. And from 2021 and beyond, other vaccines that are necessary will also be put on board.
Professor Adewale also confirmed that the body flown in from the Republic of Congo without due approval from the government tested negative to Ebola, and the airing airline, Kenya Airlines, could be sanctioned accordingly. Gloria Umezuke, Channel Television News.
To the lawmakers, the Senate has amended the Nigeria Customs Service Act, prescribing the removal of the governing board and replacing it with the Nigerian Customs Commission. Our correspondent Linda Akigbe reports that when the law becomes operational, the governing board will give way for the new commission to be established.
Federal lawmakers in the upper chamber set aside 2 legislative days to amend and pass the Nigerian Customs Service Management Act 2017. In the new amendment, the Senate has scrapped the governing board of the Nigerian Customs Service, replacing it with the Nigerian Customs Commission. The governing board is headed by the Minister of Finance, who oversees the activities of the service.
The commission would now be headed by a chairman who shall be appointed by the president, but subject to the confirmation of the Senate. The new regime prescribes the use of pre-shipment and post-shipment inspection, meaning all ships and vessels coming into Nigeria must be thoroughly inspected from the country of origin to the port of destination. The Nigeria Customs Service would, however, be required to outsource the technology needed for effective inspection.
The realities on ground. Recall that for the past 35 years, the Customs and Excise Management Act has never been amended. This is the first time in so many years that this law is passing through an amendment.
The bill contains 16 penal clauses, one of which recommends various punishments from dismissal to imprisonment for customs officers who violate the provisions. Senate President Bukola Saraki says the amendment of the bill will bring the much-needed reforms to the Nigeria Customs Service.
I think it's a very, very positive development in ensuring that we have a custom administration that will be more transparent, better clarity, and also the reference to National Assembly on issue of duty reviews will also make the process more transparent and people will be able to participate more.
Meanwhile, the Senate has condemned the alleged rape and killings of 2 women in Edo State by suspected herdsmen. Senator Clifford Odia informed lawmakers of the killings and asked the Senate to intervene.
The Senate is saddened that on the 22nd day of May 2017, these ravaging herdsmen entered into farmland located at Ewu community, East and Central local government of Edo State, raping 2 women, Mrs. Martina Emonyo and Mrs. Ariu, and strangled them to death, destroyed crops and sacked a lot of persons at various farmland.
The Senate asked security agencies to apprehend the perpetrators of the attack and also arrest those who disguise as herdsmen to unleash violence.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has asked the Inspector General of Police to ensure that 6 students of Lagos State Model College kidnapped from the school last Thursday are rescued as soon as possible. A lawmaker from Lagos State, Mr. Olawale Raji, who sponsored the motion, informed the House that Lagos State has recently witnessed a spate of kidnapping, especially in schools. The House also urged the police boss to put necessary measures in place to prevent a recurrence.
Speaker, the House notes the current spate of kidnapping in the riverine communities of Lagos State, particularly the adoption of 6 students of Lagos State Model College, Igbonla Epe, by unknown gunmen who attacked the school in the early hours of Thursday, 25th May 2017. Further notes that the riverine communities of Ishawo in Ikorodu, Igbodu in Epe, Ebute Lekki in Ibeju Lekki, and Ise in Epe local governments have come under siege lately following the incidences of 1st April 2017, where Mr. Ademola Salami was kidnapped in Ise town. Cognizant that if this spate of kidnapping is not arrested, it may pose a threat to the ongoing investment worth billions of dollars in the Lekki Free Trade Zone, which include the first indigenous private refinery in Nigeria and Lekki Deep Sea Port, among others.
3 of the suspected kidnappers or students in the Ekpe area of Lagos have been arrested by the police in Edo State, Nigeria's south region. Our sources say the 3 suspects came out of the creeks to visit a member of the gang who was injured in recent gun battle with security operatives. The suspects, all from Ovia South local government area of Edo State, are alleged to have confessed to have participated in various kidnappings in Lagos and Ogun states. Their victims include the Turkish school students, Isheri landlords, and the Ekpe students. A member of the House of Representatives, Garba Durbunde, is said to have been abducted in Kaduna by gunmen. Mr. Durbunde, who represents the Takai Sumaila Federal Constituency of Kano State, was abducted while returning to Abuja from Kano. The incident reportedly occurred on the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway around Jere. The Kaduna State Commissioner for Information and Culture, Mohammed Garba, has confirmed the abduction of the federal lawmaker. We'll stay with security. Residents of Calabar, the Cross River State capital, have been left in shock by the clash between men of the Nigerian Navy and the police on Wednesday. But the state governor, Ben Ayade, is taking steps towards calming frayed nerves. The governor, who convened an emergency security meeting over the matter, offered assurances that government will take responsibility for the damage incurred following the incident.
The IBB Way in Calabar, Cross River State capital, is busy again with people going about their businesses. On Tuesday, the street was deserted as people were forced to remain indoors following a clash between men of the Nigeria Police and the Navy. Residents say they are shocked seeing the aftermath of the violence. The police station burnt down, walls littered with bullet holes, vehicles are not spared. Even this police traffic control post was destroyed. Governor Ben Ayade calls an emergency security meeting to discuss the matter. After the closed-door meeting, the governor briefs journalists on the outcome.
The senior officers were quite ready on time and moved in yesterday evening, arrested the situation, and today we're proud to announce that Calabar and indeed Cross River State is totally calm and peaceful, and we're all in a static mood to receive the acting president.
Representatives of the two security agencies promised to investigate and prosecute the culprits.
We are one, and we are pushing ahead. And like my naval colleague said, we are ready and determined to fish out all the culprits.
And normalcy, I can tell you, has returned. The situation only affected just the stretch of that road between the two barracks.
Peace may have returned to the IBB Way for now, but residents are asking the state government to take the issue very seriously to avoid a recurrence.
A witness of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Usman Zakari, has told the Federal High Court in Lagos that a former petroleum minister, Mrs. Diazani Alison Madueke, allegedly laundered the sum of $115 million through 3 oil companies and some individuals. Mrs. Zakari, an operative of the EFCC, was testifying in the trial of a senior advocate of Nigeria, Dele Belgore, and a former Minister for National Planning, Professor Abubakar Sulaiman. He gave the name of the companies as Octus Integrated Investment Limited, Northern Belt Oil and Gas Limited, and Midwestern Oil and Gas Limited. While answering questions from the EFCC prosecutor, Rotimi Oyedepo, the witness said the 3 companies allegedly laundered a total of $43.534 million, while an aide to the former minister allegedly laundered a total of $26.926 million. Mr. Belgore and Professor Sulaiman were arraigned before the court by the EFCC on a 5-count charge of conspiracy and money laundering. The trial judge, Justice Rilwan Aikawa, has adjourned the matter till June 8th for continuation of trial and the conclusion of the testimony of the witness. Some residents under the aegis of concerned citizens of Bayelsa State have staged a protest in Yenagoa, the state capital, to condemn the alleged embezzlement and diversion of funds meant for the development of the Niger Delta region. The protesters went to the State Police Command, where they demanded a thorough investigation of a former official of the Niger Delta Development Commission, Mr. George Turner, who is currently in detention over alleged fraud. The Commissioner of Police, Amber Asukwo, promised to convey their message to the authorities.
All said funds diverted by George Turner be returned to Bayelsa State coffers for further development and complement of the states in doing to enhance the living standard and development of infrastructures in the state. Indeed, this is a fraud to humanity, and this singular act has impoverished the ordinary people of the states and the youth of Bayelsa. Hence, the loot recovered should be returned to the state government, and all amount of recovered funds from the different companies operated by Mr. George Turner be returned.
I can assure you that, to the best of my knowledge, this case is under prosecution. I will advise that you will go about your lawful duties and be rest assured that the justice will run its full course. Apart from that, the government being a responsive government, I will make sure that this letter or this petition of yours is delivered to them, and I can assure you they'll look into your matters.
In part 2 after the break, we'll be taking the opposition political party's assessment of the 2 years of APC government. We'll be joined from our Abuja studio by Senator Eyinaya Abaribe. Please stay with us.